I'm Scott Alan Miller. It is the 19th of December 2022, and this is my vlog of daily life as a traveler around the world. I'm currently in Geneseo, New York, and welcome to the show. It is snowy, but not that snowy. I'm currently recording this tomorrow because it's difficult to record on the same day. And it's probably about -1 Celsius, which isn't too bad. It's going to get crazy cold up here in a few days. Really thankful that I'm not going to be here when that happens, because this is about all I can handle these days. I'm used to the consistent 85 to 95 Fahrenheit temperatures of Nicaragua at this point. Today is the one day that Luciana and I did not get up and go to Tim Hortons. The girls had made plans with their grandfather to go to Denny's, and they got up a little bit late. They've been doing a really good job of, sorry, there's a sound on my hat, and I'm trying to figure out what it was. They've been doing a great job of going to bed at a good time and getting up and being like part of the normal land of living. Normally, they are such night owls. They will often go to bed at 6 o'clock in the morning, sleep until 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It makes it really difficult to do a lot of things with them. And in preparation for this trip, along with the move and everything, they shifted their schedules to completely normal. Now they're going to bed at 10 o'clock at night, getting up at 7 o'clock in the morning. But this morning they slept in just a little bit, and they couldn't get quite out the door to go to Denny's for breakfast until a lot closer to 11. And they kept trying to talk me into going with them. So I got enough done with work that I was able to go. So Dominica came too, and we all went to Denny's for lunch rather than breakfast. And we discovered, this is something I've been complaining about for quite some time, so I'm really thankful that this has changed. Denny's now has the Beyond Burger. They have this big thing that they did with having a burger menu. This is probably 6 years ago. And when they did that, they never brought in a veggie option. And now they have the Beyond Burger as an option. And that makes it pretty good for us, obviously. And I think they actually had, I think I said that wrong. They had some kind of veggie option, but it wasn't a Beyond Burger. It was nothing exciting. And so we were just never that into it. I do know that I got the burger option there a number of times, so they did have to have like a black bean patty or something. But now with the Beyond Burger, it's actually quite good and interesting. So we did that, both Dominica and I, and the kids both got salmon, believe it or not. But it's so hard to get salmon in Nicaragua that just having that on the menu like that, they were like, whoa, yeah, let's just get salmon. And that overrode all their other choices. So we had a nice lunch, but I do have to say, again, with Denny's really shows, because it's one of the few national chains that we go to when we're here, it really shows just how much the logistics in the United States remains a problem, that immediately they're like, oh yeah, we only have one waitress, she's completely overwhelmed. All the other diners in town have gone out of business. So this is the entire diner traffic for Geneseo in this one Denny's with one waitress. And the first thing she does when she comes to your table is say, okay, here's all the things we can't make because we don't have enough crew, and here's all the food that we're out of. So here's all the menu items you can't get, including the one that I always get, the salad. And so, I mean, the food was fine, and we had a nice meal, but it's really noticeable that you just can't keep menus going. Now, we have a similar problem in Nicaragua, and I've complained about this very recently on the show, but it's a bit different there. It's not that the things aren't available, it's that people aren't stocking them, right? The restaurants are choosing not to get the items because they just don't want to pay for them or whatever. But with Denny's in the United States, that's not the issue. The issue is actually they can't get the trucks to deliver stuff, or the trucks don't have enough stuff to deliver or whatever. And we weren't sure if that was over or still going on, but apparently still going on. We also have the issue here that a lot of people are still sick. That in Nicaragua has all but disappeared. The idea that people are getting influenza or COVID or RSV or whatever that thing is, none of that is really on the radar. We're not really thinking about that or talking about that. And we don't know anyone who's sick. We don't hear about anyone who's sick. But here in the U.S., we hear stories of it. But when we got here, immediately it was all kinds of people like, oh yeah, so-and-so sick, and whatever. So that's a shock as well, that people are still so commonly ill up here, that we've moved past that and kind of forgotten that that's a thing. We still see, people in masks and stuff, but Nicaragua has been so healthy for so long, all of Central America has, that it's kind of it's kind of become a memory, not a current way of living or anything. So that has been quite interesting. We came back from Denny's. We were at the house for a little bit, did a little bit of recording or whatever, but mostly just tried to get some work done. And then in the middle of the afternoon, around 2:30 or 3 o'clock, my Aunt Sharon and Uncle Leo came up. They were actually up in the city visiting my cousins, and then they went home and then came over to my dad's, and we hung out for several hours. So it was great getting to see them. And they stayed until it was getting roughly dark, more or less. And I worked for a little bit more, and then Luciana and I headed out to Walmart once again to hit the fake meat display. Everyone talked about the things that they really wanted to try and what they wanted to do. So we went and picked up food for everybody, brought it back to the house, and our primary thing for dinner tonight was, this is so cool that we discovered this. Like we were all pretty excited when we found this. Marie Callender fake chicken pot pies. Wow, that is cool, right? So I'm really excited about all the fake meat and like prepared meals that are vegetarian here in the United States. That's something we just don't have in Nicaragua. And when we left, I mentioned this the other day, when we left the United States, this stuff existed, but it was much, much less. And now the selection is fantastic. And something like a Marie Callender pot pie is one of those things that I have not been able to have for 23 years. And before that, when I was still eating meat, it was a major food item that I would get as prepared food. It was not as good as my mother's chicken pot pie, but it was close. It was always a really, really good one. And there's actually a Marie Callender's restaurant in Mexico City that I would be tempted to go to, but I wouldn't think there'd be anything vegetarian. Now maybe there is. But for that to be a very specific food item that I miss, and that the meat component of it is really pretty trivial. The chicken plays a pretty minor role in the overall cuisine of the Marie Callender pot pie. So replacing it with the Gardein fake chicken, you don't even notice, right? Because it's all about the gravy and the crust and all that, and the peas and the carrots. So we got those and we cooked them up, and they were absolutely fantastic. Exactly the Marie Callenders that I remember. I'm not missing a single thing. It's so awesome that that's now an option. We're all very glad that that's what we decided to do for dinner. That was a slam dunk as far as dinner options goes, and so great that we could just make it at home. And it was not expensive at all as prepared meals go. It was fantastically affordable. And then that was our evening. Watched a little bit of like YouTube or something just to wind down. And I worked until rather late, but just sitting at the kitchen table working on my laptop. Liesl did edit some videos today. We got some things uploaded, and that's about it. So I'm keeping these episodes pretty short. People have asked for that, and it is so cold. And we're just sitting here at the apartment in New York, so keeping it short is perfect. It'll get a bit longer, and there'll be more once we're down in Houston, and I can handle holding the camera for longer. And so like and subscribe, ask your questions, leave your comments, get in down below and participate. If you'd like to sponsor the show, you can buy me a coffee. That helps a lot, especially when I'm so cold. I need to be holding a warm coffee. I actually just made a coffee that I'm about to head up to warm my hands back up. And thank you to Liesl, who has been editing these videos now for almost 2 weeks, making such a difference in my workflow and time. And share with your friends, post this on social media, tell everyone about the show. I will see all of you from here one more day in cold Geneseo, New York tomorrow.